What's up, Locals Vibe? We're back again with another episode here on this podcast, and today I'm talking with Daytona's very own Jason Hanson. Jay, how's it going today, man?
Good, good. Grateful to finally get down here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, on this wonderful, hot, humid, sunny day down here.
Swampy.
Yeah, very swampy if you're not familiar with Florida, for sure. So, Jay, you're up in like Daytona Beach area. So, for people that aren't familiar with Daytona, try to put it on a map for everybody on the Florida map. Where is it?
Yeah, Daytona sits in the northeast on the Atlantic Ocean side of Florida, and it's about an hour and a half from Jacksonville and an hour and a half from Orlando.
It's a great area for a lot of different things, but most importantly, entertainment, you would say, right?
Absolutely. Daytona is an entertainment city. It never sleeps. There's events almost year-round.
And then, like, you know, not for people that don't know, these aren't events that are like at a convention center usually, or they utilize a convention center, but it's not just there. It kind of like bleeds out into basically the whole city, if not county, for most of them, right?
I would say county, for sure. Yeah, because you've got, you know, Daytona fills up with NASCAR, the NASCAR 500. Mm-hmm. You'll have an influx of 200,000 people that show up, and they'll rent out everywhere in Daytona, New Smyrna, all the way up to Palm Coast, and even into DeLand on Bike Week.
And so they got Bike Week, they got NASCAR. What are some other like entertainment events that they have?
Well, my favorite's Jeep Week.
Right,
I just bought a Jeep last year, so that's been my favorite to see. But they have Truck Week. Mm-hmm. They have Rockville, which is a huge rock concert. And then the Daytona 500, the spring break is not as popular as it used to be, but there's still a big influx of people. And then during the winter, you have snowbirds. So, and
you mentioned spring break, and at least to my understanding, that's how it got the name, the Fun Coast, right? Because you guys are the Fun Coast.
Yeah, I think that's how world's most famous beach was based around the idea of the Daytona 500. And then at kind of in the 80s, MTV made it really, really popular with, the spring break trip
for sure.
And, filming that live. But it's really morphed and changed over the last couple decades, for sure.
What do you think, other than this, what they're doing to beautify it, what do you think has been some of the biggest changes you've seen?
The biggest changes that I've seen is the amount of jobs that they're bringing.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Daytona Beach is actually advertising in Brazil and other countries to try to bring jobs. We've seen Amazon start a facility, a couple tech companies, Brown & Brown Insurance, they're filling up their building. Costco has come in. So Pepsi. So there's a lot of job creation.
What do you think are some of the unique features of the area that a lot of people seem to overlook, in your opinion?
Well, when I lived in Northern California, surrounded by mountains, when I pictured Florida in my mind, I pictured white sand beaches with palm trees.
Right.
I had no idea that right where we live, Volusia County and Flagler, it's kind of, if you could imagine the forest meeting a tropical environment. So it's very, the overgrown oaks in Ormond Beach, I love. They're beautiful. They're huge. They have moss dropping off the sides of them. I did not expect that. I expected palm trees and white sand. And the diverse wildlife is, I had no idea. And I also, the biggest thing that blew my mind was Florida's the flattest state in the country.
Wow. Surprise.
And I'm from Iowa.
Yeah, surprise.
So the plains, the Great Plains. But yeah, that's one thing that I didn't realize when we first got here. But there's some beautiful trails to ride, to hike. Mm-hmm. The horse community in Ocala is huge. And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And there's tons of parks. Glen Springs, a lot of natural springs that are beautiful to visit and swim. The water's a nice temperature, especially at temperatures like this. Mm-hmm. The water's brisk and cool. So a lot of fun things like to
74, do. I think the springs over there, something like that. Yeah, they got that's, I will say, one of the things that I definitely will say I've noticed, I grew up in Florida, so I've spent most of my life here, if not all of it. And the springs, I would say, is the thing that I know most people visiting Florida or living in Florida there's people you'll meet, they've lived in Florida for years and they don't even know that there's Florida springs exist here. And they'll say that to you drinking a Zephyr Hills bottle, you know? So the fact that they don't even know it exists. And then once you get in the water there and you really kind of explore, like you said, into the forest, you got Ocala's National Forest, all these different forests that are protected here. It is a very unique difference of having both the forest and the beaches as well. And I would imagine a lot of people are surprised with that. So with me growing up here, I'm probably a little bit more complacent with having all those dynamics. But let me see. I got it. So Daytona being like such an entertainment city itself, would you say the rest of the county follows suit, that they're also, all those other pocket cities, are they also striving to be kind of like an entertainment beacon or mecca as well? Or is it really just Daytona?
It's limited to Daytona. Bike Week does carry over to Ormond Beach down Highway 1. But for the most part, Port Orange and Ormond Beach, Palm Coast, DeLand, New Smyrna, they become very sleepy when there's not an event. That's their vibe, yes.
The vibe is just sleepy towns.
Yes.
I really love New Smyrna. New Smyrna is probably one of my favorite cities here in the state. And the reason why is because it really captures like Florida coastal, look, along with I just think it has this really unique convenience, how it's just a feeder right into Daytona. It's a feeder right into Orlando, and it's a feeder back down south. So it kind of like gives it like that really good location. And Daytona's that same kind of uniqueness. And it's the way that all the highways are designed, how it feeds from Daytona to Orlando, back and forth, east to west. But I really do think that New Smyrna and DeLand, I really like DeLand. If I was going to go inland, DeLand is a really unique, sleepy town.
Yeah, absolutely. Historic downtown DeLand is beautiful.
Right. Yeah, super cool.
Great food. The buildings are 1900 brick.
Yep. Yeah, old vibe.
Boutique shopping.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I love DeLand.
All mom pop type.
Stetson's down there. You got the college
great
down
college.
there, Stetson. Yeah, great college. Private college here in Florida. It was great college for people to consider going to. And again, something that I think people overlook in DeLand is having Stetson. When people think of Florida colleges, they're thinking of some of these other names that we could probably mention. So, no, and you're with LPT Realty Locals Group, like we have behind us here.
Yes, LPT and the Locals Group.
So first, LPT, what made you choose come to LPT? You've been on LPT, been at LPT for quite some time now.
Yeah, well, I started off at a small boutique brokerage, and I kind of had this concept that because it was smaller, I was going to get more time to ask questions and just learn a new skill set, which didn't happen. And so I was following someone, actually my wife was following someone online who was with LPT, and they were just showcasing everything that LPT had to offer that was agent friendly. And it started just me down this path of thinking maybe about making a change. And after talking with that agent, they introduced me to you. And can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Yeah. So I started talking with an agent, and they introduced me to you because you were local in that area, and you and I had a great conversation about what it might look like to partner together and help me refine my skill set. And that's really what I was looking for. I had the passion, I had the desire, I had the time, I was ready to get busy, I was hungry. Mm-hmm. I just needed to have a little bit of time to figure out some things like social media marketing, how to utilize the listing power toolkit, and everything that LPT offers. It's very budget friendly when it comes to a newer agent. And when I was first getting started, those upfront costs really start to add up.
We're going to wrap it up. This is Locals Vibe, a beachside Daytona edition. If you guys are not already on there, Jay, where can we find you?
You can find me at jasondreamsrealty.com, or you can find me at Beachside Vibes Daytona on Facebook. It's a group that we created to have interaction and showcase the local area.
That's right. And if not those places, you could catch them here on Locals Vibe. And we'll see you guys on that next episode. Catch you guys later.